Hey everyone, I just wanted to make a few comments on the reading worksheets for this unit, Unit 4. By and large, you all did a very good job dealing with what was a very difficult article. Also, by the way, let me just apologize real quick for any background noise on this video. I'm out and about today trying to get some work done on Saturday before the 4th of July weekend really kicks off, so I hope that you all have an excellent 4th of July weekend as well. Um, Getting back to the Alan Knight article on Cardenismo, um, I understood going into this that it was a very difficult article. That was sort of one of the reasons that I assigned it, but not necessarily because it was difficult, but because it does a good job of displaying the kind of key elements of an academic article on history. So something that Alan Knight did at the beginning of the piece was he, for several pages, explained what other people have written on Cardenismo, how it has been interpreted in the past, what different schools of thought there are on that period of time in Mexican history. And then on page 79, he offers his own thesis on Cardenismo, which is essentially that it was more of a jalopy than a juggernaut, meaning that it was far weaker and had to make many more concessions to various interests than most scholars typically recognize. So as he pointed out, no matter what kind of lens people are using to look at the situation with Cardenas, most of the time he is seen as kind of this juggernaut. I mean, to use Knight's word again, all-powerful president who is able to enact land reform. He is able to expropriate oil. He kind of makes good on all of those broader promises of the Mexican Revolution relative to the vast majority of Mexican people. All of that said, we still have the problem, and this is something I think that Knight does address very well. What he's trying to figure out is, if that's the case, if Cardenas um, fulfills the promises of the Mexican Revolution, then how is it that the PRI continues to be this sort of perfect dictatorship that it's been described as after his period in office? And what does that mean? Because Cardenas was the guy who really centralized the power of the state in Mexico in a lot of ways. So if he did that, what's going on? So that's the central problem I think that he's trying to resolve. So something I wanted to have you do here, if you want, if you'd like some extra credit points, do about 25 extra credit points possible. Send me an email that evaluates the Knight article in terms of its structure. So again, an academic article will lay out the state of the field. It'll then present its own arguments, as I just mentioned, and then the author should go on to lay out the evidence that he or she has found. So just from that angle, with specific citations and evidence of your own, write me a brief paragraph for extra credit if you'd like that evaluates in your mind how well Alan Knight did this academic thing, how well he presented an academic argument. Maybe it's a little more palatable if we look at it from that angle. I know it was frustrating to several of you. I do apologize for that, but I also am glad that you were able to get some exposure to the ways that academic history works. Finally, as another extra credit opportunity, and please do one or the other, not both, you could also send me an email that writes a short paragraph, again using evidence from the Knight article, that explains how you think Cardenismo and the analysis that Knight presents, how does that fit into this notion of nationalism? So this unit overall is looking at nationalism. How does this article help us to understand something about nationalism? Does it or does it not? Why or why not? That's another extra credit opportunity for the same points possible. Lastly, and I'll end my video here, I have met Alan Knight. I worked with him on the Symposium on Violence in the U.S.-Mexico Borderlands over the last year. And to be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect from him when right before I met him. We met 2 times as a symposium, so there were about 16 of us. who are working on putting together an anthology, a volume of different articles on the history of violence in U.S.-Mexico borderlands. And I already knew, he's professor emeritus from Oxford. He has a huge reputation in the field of Mexican Revolutionary history. His two-volume history of the Mexican Revolution still stands as one of the major definitive syntheses of the revolution. He's a big deal. And so I wasn't sure what kind of a person he would be. And he's actually very down to earth. He's very humble. He's a great guy as well as a very good scholar. Something, though, that sometimes we miss when we're good scholars is that ability to communicate to people who don't necessarily have the scholarly background. And I don't know that he's always able to do that. Um, but anyway, just wanted to mention that as well, and wish you all a happy 4th of July weekend. I hope you're all safe. I hope you have a great time. And I hope you think about the idea of patriotism in the context of what we're studying with Latin American history. And I'll just leave it there. So again, have a great weekend.